Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Trent. This is Rams Talk, Ram versus Cardinals game recap. Week 13, Rams get that victory. Oh, so sweet. You know what this game was for me? You know when you get sushi, whether it's at the market in the little container, or you go out and get sushi in the restaurant, and there's always those little slices of ginger on there. You know what those slices of ginger are for? They're a palate cleanser, right? It's for the palate. That's what this game was. This Rams game was the ginger slices on sushi. What is up, everyone? Please and thank you for watching, and please subscribe if you haven't. Find me on all the socials, LA Rams Talk, Instagram, Real LA Rams Talk, Twitter, Fan to Fan Network, and the Flick Chat app. Now, I want to give a special shout out to Ada, my little 5.5-year-old. She always watches. She's a big fan of the show. So Ada, this one's for you. I'm thinking about you, and I love you very much. Also, the reason why this is being dropped a little late, maybe it's TMI, I don't care, but I went and had a tooth pulled yesterday. I wanted to come home and then do a Rams talk, but man, like I seriously, that guy put so much Novocaine in there, like I couldn't feel my face until I went to bed. So I was just, it would have been comedy, but anyways, enough about me. Let's talk about this Rams game. And like I said, it was a palate cleanser. Like, it's amazing, and this is the crazy thing, especially if you're on Rams Twitter. Everyone freaks out when something goes wrong. They freak out. They're at the 1 foot view and not the 10,000 foot view. Miami, Jared Goff has to be traded. Where's Wolford? We got to draft a quarterback. When he doesn't show up against the 49ers and turns the ball over, the same thing. Like, how do you think Seahawk fans are feeling right now? There are Seahawk fans right now on Twitter talking about getting rid of Russell Wilson. There are Steeler fans out there gripping because they lost to the Washington football team. There are Bears fans. I mean, granted, that's just complete dumpster fire. But like, come on. I mean, Chargers fans. Like, there are fans of good teams, of better quarterbacks than Jared Goff, that want their quarterbacks to move. Fans are crazy like this. So you know, when you get a game like this in Jared Goff, 351 yards, 1 passing touchdown, 1 rushing touchdown, a little shaky at the beginning, but turned it around and was on fire and efficient. And what's the problem? I know a lot of people say he doesn't throw the ball downfield, and I get that, but this will blow your mind. The Rams are 6th in explosive passing plays this season. And explosive passing plays, any pass over 20 yards, I think it's 20 yards. And a lot of people equate that with passes in the air. But he's getting it all with the yak. So, like, why would you... If Jordan Rodriguez of The Athletic said it very well. If the deep ball are the lower percentage plays, it's like the three-pointer, okay? The yak plays, they're like the layups. The passing it to the running backs. He had 9 different receivers in this game. Cam Akers had, he had a pass for, 1 pass for 22 yards, 1 reception for 22 yards. Malcolm Brown, 1 reception for 30 yards. Who cares if that was a 30-yard reception in the air or he caught it and ran for 30 yards? That's what the offense is designed to do. And also, this offense is a symphony. If one instrument is off, then it kind of throws it all off. And if the composer is off, Jared Goff, then it's all off. So against the 49ers, the composer was out of whack and everything was messed up, and they couldn't play the music the way it was meant to be played. In this game, the composer started off a little bit shaky, but when he got into a rhythm, everything was, the symphony was exact and precise and melodic. And you could just feel this rhythm happening. And if, it's one of these things, if one thing is off, then it affects everything. But when it's all playing together, then it opens up the playbook. Then they're able to run plays off of other plays. It kind of makes everything infinite. And we got to see this in this game, especially after, I think, starting the 3rd drive, is when it all really came alive. And like I said before the game, this game is going to come down to 3 or 4 main things, and let's go through it. Everyone likes to talk about balance. I like to talk about balance, but it was balance. 31 rushes, 41 passing attempts, and the crazy thing about the 47 passing attempts is that they were all high percentage, so I didn't really have a problem. There were a few phases where it was like pass, run, and it kind of, and there, it'd be 3rd down and 8 or something, and then they pass it, and you'd be like, okay, fine, it's fine. But the crazy thing about that is that the Rams had 39 minutes of total time of possession versus 21 for the Cardinals. Now, if you would have told me that the passing, they'd have 47 pass attempts, but still have the ball 38 minutes, like, to me, that sounds like they were just running. But no, they were efficient, letting the clock run. So balance-wise, it was perfect. If the Rams hit 30-plus rushing attempts in a game, I'm not going to be mad. And this was great. And also, out of those rushing attempts, we kind of really started to see the new world order in terms of running back. Now, Darrell Henderson was a little dinged up in the first half. He came back, broke off that 38-yard run, which was beautiful. Didn't look like any ill effects of the knee. But, Cam Akers, man, this was Cam Akers, 21 carries for 72 yards. Now, if you want to look at snap counts, I can tell you right now that, let me scroll up to the offense. Malcolm Brown had 13 snaps, Darrell Henderson 18 snaps, Cam Akers 52 snaps. So he played in 63% of the Rams' plays. Darrell Henderson 22%, Malcolm Brown 16%. And I kind of feel like that rhythm of the running backs rotation was like, that's spot on. That's how we want to do it. Cam Akers taking the bulk, Darrell Henderson right, behind him, and then Malcolm Brown spelling in here and there. I felt that was a really good rotation. It's the first time we really got to see that, so that was great. So this just ties into my balance, but it's also tying into, I guess, what we all thought or envisioned what the Rams running back situation would be. Cam Akers, rookie, no real training camp, but abbreviated, no real scrimmages or preseason games, and had to really ramp up. Then he was injured for about 2+ games. So his learning curve was diminished or hampered a little bit. But now I feel like he's in that groove. He's got that click with Darrell Henderson. I think it's firing. And man, Darrell Henderson with that 38-yard scamper, at first I thought he doesn't look like he's running fast. And then the third time I watched it, there's no one closing in on him. Like, the guy kind of recovers, starts chasing him. Maybe it's Buda Baker or Banjo, I can't remember. But the gap stays. So, he's got wheels, and that was just a great read and great blocking by the offensive line. Offensive line, by the way, do you know Austin Blythe is ranked 7th by Pro Football Focus? Joe Noteboom is ranked, he's in the 70s. He has a 54 overall rating, but his pass block rating is 80, and his run block rating is 38. So, it really just goes to show bouncing outside the tackle is much better fit for him, because on the inside as a guard, you're expected to be a little bit more of a mauler. So, but no, Joe Noteboom, it was great seeing a little sign of fire from him towards the end of the game when it was Blythe or someone had to come in and just take him off the player, because Joe Noteboom is one of the more reserved guys you'll see on the Rams roster, and seeing a little bit of fire is great. I love that. Now, the other thing, I think probably the biggest key to this game for me coming in was Kyler Murray and limiting him on the ground. Like I said before, in games that the Cardinals have won, the 6 wins, he's had over 65 yards rushing. In games that they've lost coming into this game, 52 yards and fewer rushing. The last 2 games before the Rams game averaged 23 yards rushing per game. Against the Rams, 15 yards. He was 5 for 15, averaging 3 yards a carry. That is amazing. I didn't expect 15 yards. I thought maybe he'd get 30, 40-ish, right? Keeping him under that 52 mark. But 15, that's insane. Also, Kyler Murray, 173 passing yards. He accounted for 188 total yards. That's less than what Jared Goff had in passing yards against the 49ers. So here's another thing. You want to talk about fans overreacting and gripping and how down on Jared Goff we were? Kyler Murray not playing well. And just like I said before, I can still hear it. Tom Petty is free falling. The Cardinals are free. I don't think Cardinals make the playoffs. I really don't. They have an uphill climb because they look broken. And another one of the points I was going to bring up was Cliff Kingsbury coaching versus Sean McVay. And at the beginning of the game, Murray was going for these long passes, kind of like Jared Goff was in the Super Bowl, and the pressure was getting to him. what was he, like 1 for 8, 1 for 9? He went 3 complete passes in the first half. But then when he came out in the second half, short passes, and that's when they started getting their rhythm back, or maybe that was at the end of the second quarter. But you could see they realized, okay, we got to do short passes and everything like that to kind of get the ball faster, like we've talked about with Jared Goff. And you could see the offense picking up a little bit, but at the end of the game, Kingsbury was making some really questionable calls, time management, all kinds of things, and you're just like, this is the difference. Cliff Kingsbury, like I said before, I think would be a really good offensive coordinator, but in terms of a coach with all the things that encompasses, I don't really see that, and it'll be interesting to see how the Cardinals finish up. Now, going back to the rushing game, and especially with Kyler Murray, the Cardinals were 4th in the NFL in rushing yards per game coming into this game, primarily because Kyler Murray adds so much to it. And I think they're averaging 150, 154 yards per game, which was 4th. The Rams were limiting opponents to 92 rushing yards per game, and guess how many rushing yards the Cardinals had? 93. So the Rams take teams that like to run, and they stop them, and they slow them down. And that's what that was. The Rams won that battle. The Rams won every battle. The Rams dominated this game. I tweeted out, the score should not be what it was. I mean, the Rams should have scored close to 48 points, and the Cardinals should have had 21 max. I'd say probably 14, actually. I'm a homer, I'm going to say that. But the Rams had 17 more offensive plays. Total yards, 463 to 232. Yards per play, 5.9 to 3.7. And time of possession, 39 to 21. It really, the score made it seem closer than the game actually was, with the exception of the first couple drives for the Rams. They were on fire, and if they didn't have that complete meltdown and coverage on the first drive, and the only reason why that happened is because Leonard Floyd hit Kyler Murray in the face mask, or grabbed his face mask, but he didn't really need to do it on that play. They had him bottled up anyways. That was a gift that extended the drive, otherwise that would have been a punt. And then they had to complete that pass to Tom Arnold. Dan Arnold was so uncharacteristic of the Rams, and I haven't seen them make a play like that this year. I mean, there was against the Bills when Jordan Fuller went out. There was miscommunication, but it wasn't for a touchdown. It was a long play like that. But you take that away, then you take away the Nsimba Webster fumble, and you could say take away the Kyler Murray interception, pick 6. So, that goes to show how close they were. Then the Rams, when they went for it on 4th down, I think going for it on 4th down was fine. I have no problem with that. But when they tried to do a hurry-up play, a tempo play off of that, I feel like it just wasn't settled. It was like discombobulated a little bit. And I think if they had just taken the regular time, set up, and run a play, it might have worked. It just seemed rushed. I don't know. Maybe they run the same play with like 15 extra seconds on there, and it still gets stopped. But that could have been 7 or 3 additional points. Then there was the Matt Gay missed field goal. It was a 39-yarder or so, 37, 39-yarder. Makeable, hits the upright. I'm not mad at Matt Gay, no problem with that. But, that's a possible 10-point swing right there. So, this game really could have been a little more out of control from the Rams standpoint. And then the other big thing I wanted to talk about was Jalen Ramsey versus DeAndre Hopkins. 8 catches, 52 yards, and a touchdown. Granted, that touchdown really not on Ramsey. It was a pick play. He was taken out of it. Troy Hill covered. But that was still not a bad play by Troy Hill. And there was a play when Troy Hill gave up the first down to, I want to say, Keyshawn Johnson. I saw him, people were ripping Troy Hill. And it's just blowing my mind. I guess it's just, I'll go back to Twitter and how reactionary Twitter is just in general. But Troy Hill had a good game. He had a good pass breakup, and then he had that pick 6. God bless Troy Hill. Hasn't had an easy career path, and he's playing well. I mean, not just because the Rams secondary is the best secondary in football. Jalen Ramsey pretty much shut down. Cliff Kingsbury had to tell him, Kyler Murray, don't be afraid of Jalen Ramsey. Because he was. Quarterbacks are. That is a real thing. Russell Wilson was. Kyler Murray was. And it wasn't just locking down D-Hop, because except for that, he really had nothing in this game. But you look at what the other cornerbacks did to Christian Kirk and Andy Isabella, 3 receptions for 9 yards. Then Keyshawn Johnson had 4 for 27. But still, 4 for 27, that's 7 for 36. 7 receptions for 36 for the next 3 wide receivers. The defense is shut down. And I want to talk a little bit more about the defense. The front was amazing. I thought Sebastian Joseph Day had a game. Sebastian Joseph Day, ladies and gentlemen, according to our favorite Pro Football Focus here, let me switch it over here, but I want to say Sebastian Joseph Day is top 20 in terms of interior defenders, ranked by Pro Football Focus. Aaron Donald obviously is number 1, but Sebastian Joseph Day is 14th. And he's like those guys, unless you're getting sacks, you don't really get noticed. You don't get, you're not Aaron Donald just blowing through every time. But Sebastian Joseph Day, he's 14th overall rating as an interior defender, and he had a great game. He's quick, and Ashawn Robinson is quick. You see some of the moves he was putting on there? Ashawn's coming around. I think Ashawn's going to play a big role in the Patriots game coming up. Troy Reeder had a great game, chasing people down. He probably had one of the better games of one of our inside linebackers or one of our linebackers all season. He led the team in tackles with 10 tackles, 6 of them being solo. John Johnson was second with 9 total tackles, 8 being solo. And then Justin Hollins is the other guy I want to give props to. Justin Hollins, talk about these free agent, not free agents, but like these guys that are cut or put on the practice squad, and that the Rams scoop up. You have Darius Williams, and you have Justin Hollins from the Broncos. And he'd still be there if Von Miller didn't get injured. But the Rams have him, and I want to say he's ranked 35th by Pro Football Focus overall in terms of edge defenders. And in this game, he had a sack, he had the fumble that he stripped out. And, he's just playing lights out. And talk about a guy who, we just got for free. So Justin Hollins had himself a game. In fact, Terrell Lewis even Instagrammed talking about Justin Hollins. But Justin Hollins, Troy Reeder, Sebastian Joseph Day, all of those guys. Samson Ebukam, though, kind of a dud. He shot in one time. Kyler Murray ran around, right? Granted, there was someone else there to smother the play. It might have been Justin Hollins. No, I don't know who it was. But, you got to make that play. He also whiffed on a screen. So it's just, and Greg Myers, every time you watch the game, he calls him Samson Ebukam. And I'm confused now how to say his name. I usually don't live my life by the pronunciation of Greg Myers, but whatever. The defense was great. All levels of the defense were great. No major injuries in this game. Obo was back. Nick Scott got some run, but no major injuries in this game, thank God. And, we're pretty soon to get Troy, what's his name? Taylor Rapp back. He should be coming back maybe in a few weeks. So this is all shaping up to be great. The Rams needed this. This was a great game. Our special teams was actually a disappointment. I don't mind the Matt Gay missed field goal. Nasimba Webster had a fumble, but I'm not pissed off at Nasimba Webster because, he's been good. He hasn't fumbled. But this, I think, brings up a glaring point is that the Rams need to really start investing in the special teams. The coverage was not great. Kickoffs have been a lot better. We don't have a returner. That's not Nasimba Webster's fault or Cooper Kupp's fault. I just don't think we have the personnel. And I hate to say it, and I don't even know. I'm probably way off on this. But Tavon Austin. Why not? If Tavon Austin, if you just have him for punt returns, and he's not your leading receiver, then why not? They had him. First year with McVay, they had him. Did they have him? Because Farrah Cooper was on the team, and maybe if Tavon was injured, Farrah Cooper was fumbling in the playoff game. Anyway, they need to get a punt returner. That's basically the bottom line. In terms of coverage, I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know if that's because Terrell Burgess isn't there, but it shouldn't really come down to one guy. They're going up against the team, the New England Patriots, that are one of the better special teams. Have one of the better special teams in the league. So that needs to be figured out. But all around, great game, 38 points. It's been a while since we've had just a nice, comfortable scoring game. Seeing the players step up, Jared Goff come around. 8-4 ahead of the top of the NFC West, and I'll take just win the NFC West and we'll play who we play because it'll be at home. And the NFC East is emerging. Like, honestly, can you say definitively that going to New York in January and playing the Giants is easy? Like, we barely beat them at home like a month and a half ago. And you think going on the road and playing them when they have all this confidence, and if it is them and not Washington, I prefer playing Washington over the Giants. The Giants have a little special something going on right now. So whether we have to play Tampa Bay, or ideally if we get the second seed, we can play either Arizona or the Minnesota Vikings. Bring it on, home game, right? I just don't want to play in cold weather. I want to have an NFC West title because flags fly forever, even divisional ones. So there you go, everyone. Thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Watch another video up here. I'll be dropping a New England Rams preview. Gosh, I don't know, tomorrow? I kind of have to because the game's on Thursday. So hopefully I can get that in and get that out to you. But thank you for watching. And as always, go Rams. Eat that ginger. Boom.